Hey everyone. Okay, so to start, majority of this episode is pretty much the crew facing off against the Nero Commando unit. Obviously, right from the jump, I like how we are thrown into that situation of being up against the odds, but unlike with Fairy Tail, the whole battle has our heroes being pushed up against in every which way against the wall. Like even just against Mora, they couldn't even hold their own until Shiki Shiki uses ether gear to tear the glue off them, and even then, that little switch around, it didn't last very long until Brittany and Orc showed up, and then they were all again right back from square one, where they're just being constantly battered, bruised, pushed every which way against the wall. Like they couldn't do anything to push back against the Nero Commando unit, and again, I love that. Of course, like just couldn't do anything to get the upper hand, and at least before the tables turned back. And of course, obviously, a lot of this isn't helped either by the fact that throughout all this mess, you can see that Shiki's not exactly operating 100% emotionally. Like, the guy is still reeling from the encounter with Ziggy and fighting his own emotional demons to the point where it's plain as day his resolve has been shaken, even when faced against Orcs, someone who's clearly trying to kill him. And what does Shiki do? Like, from the very moment he breaks down crying in front of Orc because he can't bring himself to accept that Ziggy is, like, in a way evil now, and Shiki, and the thing is, Shiki not fully being able to grapple with the realities of the situation he's facing with Ziggy, and just trying to keep it straight, trying to put on a brave face, trying to put on this mask over all these issues, shows plain as day he needs to come to terms with his own demons. And Shiki, and I think honestly Shiki getting knocked the fuck out by Orc, I think was kind of the wake-up call he needed, because here's the thing. This is unfortunately something I unfortunately have to be critical of Shiki for. Orc's not wrong. Even if they were, like, here's the thing. Even if they weren't under Ziggy's control, those robots still killed people. And truthfully, this is one of those situations where you have to look at it from the perspective of it really doesn't matter what Shiki wants. Something like all of these robots have done, enslaving, killing humans. It is one of those things that demands an answer. It demands action because it requires facing the families of all those who were killed, and how is Shiki supposed to respond to that when he's wallowing in his own pain and doesn't have an answer to other than to ask everyone to just stop? That is not an answer. And because if that is Shiki's only answer, to say, please stop fighting, can we just stop and just talk about it? I'm sorry, Shiki, that is not an answer. Human beings, unfortunately, we as human beings, it's one of those, we demand retribution, we demand vengeance, we demand action for something that has happened to us. And I gotta be honest, and honestly, this is kind of an episode that just shows that this is one of those episodes that really shows Shiki's inability to truly act as a leader, and that in itself is what, if Shiki is unable to do his duties as a leader, as a captain of the Eden Zero, and just, if he's unable to perform his duties, then that in itself is what will truly get his friends killed. If he's unable or unwilling to make those hard decisions, then there's no point in continuing his journey. Like, I'm sorry, flat up, there's no point in anything he's doing. Which again, I know I'm getting heated about it, but I think the reason why I'm getting heated is because looking back on all this material, it just makes me realize even more, and I'm such an idiot because it makes me realize even more what Mashima is doing here. He's basically it's one of those things where I know the term deconstruction is a bit of a overused term a bit, but it is kind of what he's doing here. He's deconstructing the whole trope of like let's just talk it out. He's deconstructing the talk no jutsu kind of thing, like the whole idea of just talking it out, just finding common ground. This is him saying there are things that cannot be talked out. There are things that kind of demand action, and this is kind of like. And one thing, I like when I first read this, I didn't think much about it, but just revisiting it here in the anime, it makes me realize that that this is like the first big step towards Shiki's character development and how he's going to emotionally mature beyond this point. It's kind of interesting. Now, circling back though, the episode actually starts off fairly tense as we see Ivory giving Clean an examination where we learn the obvious thing, which is that she has severe trauma, obviously. But it's when we cut to the flashback of Ivory's conversation with Jin where things get a little more interesting, as that whole exchange and Jin's outburst reveals the emotional scars definitely run deeper than we think. And I'll be honest, the revelation of the Rutherford siblings' childhood and what caused this is where I do start to worry a little bit for the anime, because while it did prove in the Ball of War arc that it isn't going to completely shy away from showing the more bloody side of the series, diving into the root of Clean's trauma is where the anime is gonna really need to put its money where its mouth is, so to speak, and really prove itself. Because I'm not lying when I say that the event that triggered the emotional damage for both Rutherford siblings is like something out of a damn horror movie. Like, I'm talking Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like Bloody Massacre type of horror. And the thing is, when it comes to something like this, it is gratuitous and it is very bloody. But the thing is, it needs to be seen and viewed fully in that way for the impact of what happened to really hit. And I just don't know if I can fully. I don't know if the anime is really going to be able to, in order to push itself that far. Like, I want to believe that they're not gonna censor it any more than how Mashima kind of self-censored himself in that moment with the moment in question. But I still have a lot of doubts. I guess I can only sum it up as we'll have to wait and see. On a lighter note, though, I do like the whole scene between Ivory and Clean. Though it's kind of like, as we're shown, like Clean being clingy towards Homura isn't just a gag, and that Clean herself has already felt so at home on the crew that she does want to stay, but she's kind of forcibly tied to the idea of wherever Jin goes, I follow. So there's some sibling dynamic issues I think they have to work out through that as well. With that said, though, there is one other small detail I want to talk about, which is when Brittany and Orc arrive. Brittany does a data analysis Shiki and identifies his ether as that of the Demon King, like it's gravity ether of the Demon King, with Orc responding, so he's the same as Shura. And for those who have seen the opening, you can probably take an educated guess as to who Shura is, but honestly, with what was adapted in this chapter, I can say with certainty that we won't have to wait much longer before we get the official introduction to him. Like, it's likely to happen next episode. And to anime onlys, if you thought Dragon Joe was the most evil piece of shit Mashima is capable of cooking up, you wait. You have not met Shura yet. Also, within the episode itself, we see Hermit discover a secret about the robot corruption, and how whatever that secret is could affect the Shining Stars very soon as well. So that says, and the fact that she called upon Weiss for help says whatever's affecting the current situation is still going on. Like, it's a virus that's being perpetually powered by some machine or something like that. And some machine or some robot, some kind of machine or some kind of tower, some kind of like tower, like I guess, what would it be, like some kind of broadcast tower or something. And oh boy, Hermit especially is not gonna like what she finds at the end of this road where she's going. But I'm not gonna say anything more. That aside, though, I do gotta say, because I'm a sucker for all the Time Zero to Starship battles, I think my favorite fight in this episode was probably Clean, Jin, Laguna, and those starfighters taking on the drones. Like, it's weird to say, but these type of fights in the series always feel like the most dynamic. to put it another way, even though I'm sure Mashima had a lot of fun crafting a lot of the fights in the series, the ones with the space or starship like aerial combat, you can tell even when watching the anime that those are the ones where he has the most fun, especially with the added benefit that the Eden Zero starfighters can utilize the pilot's ether gear. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. Enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Analyst, Facebook, Crunchyroll, and just be sure to push the notification bell, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.